Hey everyone, today we're going to talk a little bit about Citizen Kane. It's a 1941 film directed by and starring Orson Welles. Upon its release, Citizen Kane actually didn't have a very good public reception, but over time it's come to be regarded as one of the best films of all time, if not the best film of all time. While I would personally reserve the spot of best film of all time for something like probably Casablanca, I still think Citizen Kane is an excellent film. So let's go ahead and jump right into the good. Right off the bat, the biggest thing I noticed in this film is the camera work. Orson Welles really created a lot of different ways to use a camera, and that's one of the reasons this film has stood the test of time, is because the camera work aged so well. And right along with that is the transitions. I think my favorite part in this film is the transitions. They're pretty much perfect all around. There's one transition that I didn't like, and I'll get to that later. But all around, the transitions, the camera work is great. The directing is impeccable. There's a lot of great acting in this film, and that's actually pretty crazy to think about because a lot of these people who acted in this film had never acted on film before. They were actually stage actors who transitioned to film, a lot like Orson Welles. Now, along with the great acting comes a lot of witty dialogue. There's a lot of funny moments in this film, and the characters really help elevate this film.
Yeah. You're right, Mr. Thatcher. I did lose $1 million last year. I expect to lose $1 million this year. I expect to lose $1 million next year. You know, Mr. Thatcher, at the rate of $1 million a year, I'll have to close this place in 60 years.
Especially Orson Welles, who portrays Charles Foster Kane. He's so charming at a young age. He's so witty. You really see him progress the character as he portrays him at a young age, middle-aged and old age. You really get to see how this man changes, and it's just portrayed very well by Orson Welles. So the first scene that really stuck out to me was when Charles Foster Kane's parents were actually giving him up. They were signing him away. They're inside the house, but outside you can see Kane is playing in the snow, and he's framed through a window, and while he's outside playing, his parents are inside signing him away, basically. And it's just a very well shot scene, and the aesthetic of the scene when it's out in the snow, he's playing on a sled. That's a very well done scene with some good foreshadowing for the end of the film. I also like the opera scene where Kane is watching his second wife sing. Just the way the camera focuses in on Kane's face, just Orson Welles, he just looks so intense at that moment. And then when she's done singing and he stands up and he starts clapping after everyone else is done clapping, that scene is just iconic. I really like that scene. Third scene that really stuck out to me was the final scene, the ending scene in Xanadu, the sort of big reveal. That scene really elevates the film. I love the reveal in this film. So now that I've talked about what I like about this film, I'm going to go into a little bit of the weaker aspects of the film. There's really not a lot of weak stuff here, so I'm just going to go ahead and go through this pretty quick. The newsreel scene in the beginning, I think, goes on for a little bit too long. It's interesting. You sort of see a little bit about Kane's life. It's sort of a preview of the movie you're going to watch, basically. But I do think it goes on for a little bit too long, and it kind of loses your interest there at the end, especially on rewatch. There is one bad transition, like I said. It's near the end of the film. It has to do with a bird and a loud shrieking noise that comes from the bird. And there's really no need for that to be in there. Orson Welles himself said that there was no meaning behind this transition, behind this bird. It was just to wake the audience up if they had fallen asleep. So I really think that should have been taken out. But those are the two complaints I have with this film. And they're honestly pretty small. It's a small portion of the movie. And the newsreel, it was interesting. It just went on for a little bit too long. And the final thing I want to say is it has nothing to do with the movie itself. It's the status of the movie. When people hear that it's the best movie of all time, I think it really disappoints them when they first watch it. I know it did me, and I've heard from other people that it did for them too, because they're expecting some absolute masterpiece on every level that just absolutely pops out of the screen, that keeps them on their edge of their seat for the whole film. And it really doesn't do that. It doesn't keep you on the edge of your seat for the whole film, in my personal opinion. But what's really special about the movie is that it's technically perfect. There's pretty much nothing wrong with the film. The technique used in this film, the techniques used are like 20 years ahead of their time. They've stood the test of time. Techniques made up in this film are still being used today. It changed cinema, really. So that's why it's regarded as one of the best films of all time. So when people first watch it, they really don't understand and they're kind of disappointed by it. And that's really a shame because it's a great movie. So I do think the status of this film hurts it, but I'm not going to take that into account in my rating. So overall, I'm going to give this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It really is an excellent film. Just one or two issues that hold it back for me. Tell me if you agreed with me. If you disagree with me, let me know down in the comments what you think I should review next. And I will see you all next time.